Hi, I'm Ryan, and this is Novelists, Inc., NINC, the channel where we talk about the craft and business of writing. NINC is a professional association for career novelists. Every member of NINC has sold at least 2 novels, most have sold more than 20, and many of our members are national bestsellers. But enough about us. Let's talk about you. Are you an independent author who wants to increase your earnings? Are you interested in reaching more readers via audiobooks, the fastest growing market for book sales? Well, then today's video is for you. So let's settle in as USA Today bestselling indie author Rebecca Hefner talks to us about maximizing audiobook sales with her wide and direct strategy.
While Novelists, Inc., NINC, strives to provide accurate and helpful information, NINC does not assume any liability for or endorse any opinions, advice, instructions, products, errors, or omissions in the following video. Viewers are solely responsible for how they interpret and apply any NINC content.
Hello, everyone. It is author Rebecca Hefner here, and I am so excited to be here with you today to talk about wide and direct audiobooks. Now, if you've ever spoken to me before, you know this is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. Wide and direct audio is a huge revenue source in my business. If I didn't have audiobooks, I probably wouldn't be an author anymore. So I have really figured out how to maximize my earnings with wide and direct audiobooks. And so once I figured it out for myself, I love teaching other authors how to do it as well. So I'm here to talk to you about that today, and hopefully we can all learn together and move forward. So let's get to it. So when I talk about wide and direct audiobooks, of course, what I mean are just audiobooks that are not exclusive to Audible. Now, if you are exclusive to Audible, that's totally fine, but that is not my area of expertise. So today we'll be talking about being wide and direct. Obviously, wide means the over 40, 45 sites that you can distribute to with your audiobook, and direct means having your direct store. So I'm going to talk about both because I have both. So when I talk about wide and direct audiobooks, I usually really like to break it up into 3 separate steps. So step number 1 is production. Step number 2 is distribution. And step number 3 is marketing, which is just all of our favorite things as authors, right? Marketing. We just love that so much. So I can't say that I actually do enjoy marketing my audiobooks mostly. So maybe I could teach you how to have some fun with it as well. All right. So let's start with step number 1, which is production. So how do you get your book made into an audiobook? Well, there are really 2 ways that you can do this with human narration. I just want to lay out front that I'm not a fan of AI narration, so that's not my expertise, nor will I be talking about it besides this on the video. So if you want to make AI narrated audiobooks, you'll have to look somewhere else for that information. But for me, discussing human narrated audiobooks, there are really 2 ways to produce those. So way number 1 is to produce it yourself with the narrator, where you and the narrator contract together. And then the second way is to go through a production company. So if you're going to do step number 1, the first thing you need to do is obviously find a narrator or narrators if you want to do dual or duet narration for your audiobooks. Now, I'm the admin of the Marketing Audiobooks Wide group, and we do have a narrator author connection thread in the group. It's pinned in the featured posts. So you're welcome to join us in that group. You can go to the featured posts, and in that post, we have over 100 narrators that have listed their information, and they are willing to work with indie authors. So you can reach out to these narrators. They usually list what genre they like to narrate, and then you can negotiate price with them when you reach out to them directly. Now, I always say that narrators are negotiable, so make sure, you reach out, you tell them what you're looking to pay. A lot of times when I reach out to narrators, I offer to give them the entire series up front so that they'll give me a lower per finished hour rate. So it really just depends on what you want to negotiate with the narrators. I find narrators are very easy to work with nowadays. You can also find narrators on TikTok. A lot of them do live narration. You can also search through other audiobooks in your genre and see which narrators are narrating those books and reach out to them. Most narrators have a website or social media nowadays where you can reach out, and they will be happy to speak with you that way. Now, once you find a narrator, then you're going to want to do a contract with them so that you can lay out how much you're going to pay them to do the audiobooks and what they're expected to do on their side. And in that same author narrator thread in the Facebook group, we do have some links to some sample contracts between authors and narrators, so you can check that out. I also have a free wide audiobook guide that I'll have link in the description below. And I also link to my sample contract that I use with my narrators in that free guide as well. So you can use that as a template if you like. Now, if you don't want to do the narration or contract with the narrator yourself, you can use a production company. And there are lots of great production companies out there like Pink Flamingo, the Indie Audiobook Network, Podium, Tantor. There are just tons of companies that you can work with that you would basically sell your audiobook rights for a certain amount of time, and then they would share in the profits of once they make the audiobook for you. Now, that comes with, of course, you do have to give up some of your audio rights. So if you are a control freak like me, sometimes you don't want to work with a production company merely because you want to hang on to your rights so that you can distribute everywhere yourself. But if you're someone who, would rather stay more hands-off, I do think a production company is a great option if you want to stay more hands-off and you don't want to work directly with your narrators. So that's something that's up for you to decide. Now, the next step is distribution. And for distribution, of course, if you're wide and direct, you have tons of places that you can distribute your audiobook, right? There are over 45, I think, retailers, including retail sites and libraries and streaming services and all of these other things. So what is really most important to know when you're distributing your audiobook? Well, the first thing is I firmly believe that one of the reasons I'm successful with audio is because I go direct to every single retailer that I'm allowed to go direct to. So for example, you can distribute and upload your files and distribute your audiobooks directly on a couple of different sites: Kobo, Spotify, ACX, Google Play, Curios, of course, YouTube. You can upload your audiobooks there and try and get your channel monetized. And then, of course, BookFunnel would be where I upload my books to deliver through my direct store. So these are all different retail channels that allow authors to distribute directly. Now, you might be saying, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of places to upload my audiobook, and I don't want to do all that work. And if you don't want to do all that work, that's fine. My answer to that is, number one, it's really not that much work. It's literally you just upload the files one time and then they're on the site. So I have found it to just be pretty systematic and pretty easy. It just takes a little extra time in the very beginning to get them up, and then they're good to go. But secondly, when you go direct with retailers, you get a lot of options that you don't get if you distribute through an aggregator like Authors Republic or In Audio, Publish Drive, etc. So for example, with Google Play, one of the big things about Google is that they're a search engine, right? So they love metadata. So when I distribute directly to Google Play, I can go in and change my metadata all the time and change it to different things and test different things out. And I can't do that if I am going through In Audio to Google Play. The other thing with Google Play is that they have a really cool promo tool. So I can just set sales for my audiobooks without thinking about it, which is really nice. Kobo has audiobook specific promos for authors that upload there directly. And you're not really eligible for some or all of those promos if you go through an aggregator like in Audio or Authors Republic. So I love going direct to Kobo because I get access to all of these audiobook promos that they do. And then just the other ones, ACX, Spotify, etc. The other benefit of going direct is that if you go through an aggregator, the aggregator takes a cut of every sale or every stream, right? So for me, I'm going to go direct everywhere I can to save myself from having to pay that 20% to In Audio on every single audiobook sale I make. And you might say, well, it's worth it for me to pay In Audio 20% so that I don't have to upload to 7 sites. And that's fine. If that's worth it for you, for me, I want that 20%. And I find it well worth it to upload directly to all these other sites. So that's something you'll just have to decide for your business. Now, there are also retail sites that you cannot get to by uploading direct. And so retail sites like Apple, Chirp, Barnes and Noble, you do have to go through an aggregator like In Audio or Authors Republic to get to those. So I use In Audio to get to all of these other sites that I can't upload directly to. Using an aggregator will also get you to all of the library sites like Hoopla and Libby. So you definitely want to make sure you use an aggregator to get to all of the other wide sites that you can't get to direct. Now, people always ask me who I'm with. I go through InAudio. The reason I really like InAudio is because they have a promo tool that I can set prices really easily, sale prices for my audiobooks on certain retailers like Apple and Chirp and Barnes and Noble. And that just makes my life really easy. But I will also say that Authors Republic is wonderful. They have great customer service. So it really just depends on, whatever you want to do for your business. I think they're both really good aggregators. There are other aggregators out there too, like Publish Drive. I know that Dreamscape distributes a lot of audiobooks for authors. So it really just depends on, how hands-on or how hands-off you want to be with your business. Okay, we have made it to the fun part. So now that you have distributed your audiobook and you have it uploaded to all of these 45 sites, now the question is, how do you market your audiobook? Okay, so we're going to really dive into this. Now, there are so many ways you can market your audiobooks, but I'm going to talk about my sort of top 6 favorite ways that I like to market. And then there are other ways that I like to market that are listed in my free wide audiobook guide. So I definitely recommend that you download that and that you sort of filter through it to see some of the things I've listed there. Okay, so marketing your audiobook, tip number 1. So tip number 1 for me is I really like to do this is I like to set one of my audiobooks on sale for free or 99 cents. Similar to what I would do with an ebook, right? So you do that with an ebook and then you put it in a free Booksy or a bargain Booksy or a fussy librarian promo. Well, you can do the same thing with one of the audiobooks in your catalog. And of course it works great with the first in series, but you can also do it with a standalone or another book in your catalog. So I will put an audiobook on sale for 99 cents or free, and then I will list it in paid promo sites like Indie Audiobook Deals, which is actually, I run Indie Audiobook Deals. So that's my company that I run to help authors get their their audiobooks seen by listeners. So there's Indie Audiobook Deals, there's Book Cave, there's Book Doggy, and now Written Word Media actually allows some wide audio sites in their audio thicket promos. So doing paid newsletter promos like this, I find is a really effective way to get listeners to purchase one of your audiobooks or download one of your audiobooks and kind of get them hooked. And then from there, the hope is that they'll go on and listen and purchase the rest of your catalog. And I find that this works very well for me. I like to put my audiobooks on sale, quite often and do this with different series and things in my catalog. So that's step number 1. And I really enjoy doing that to get more eyes on my audiobooks. Marketing tip number 2 is author-led promos. So there are a lot of author-led wide promos out there like YOLO with Kobo, which Laramie Briscoe runs, and she accepts audiobooks in this promo. There's the Kobo Plus Fantasy promo that also accepts audiobooks. There's the Stuff Your Earbuds promo, which I run, which is basically like Stuff Your e-reader, but for audiobooks. So there are a lot of author-led promos out there, and I would encourage you to sort of check those out and find different places where you can collaborate with authors on that. And that's a great way to promote your audiobook is to work with other authors in your genre or subgenre and really market the heck out of your audiobooks together so that you get all of your listeners listening to everyone's catalog. Okay, marketing tip number 3 would be retailer-led promos. So like I spoke about before, Kobo has audiobook promos every month that you can apply to. They usually accept every audiobook that I submit for the promos. So it's a great way to get eyes on your audiobooks doing their promos. And then Chirp has amazing promos. So they have Chirp featured deals. They have the Chirp freebie Friday. And then Chirp also sends out an author newsletter once a month with additional promos that you can apply for. So doing these retailer-led promos also can really lead to a lot of exposure because the retailers then email their list of readers and listeners, and that helps get more eyes on your audiobooks. Okay, number 4, like we spoke about, you can also upload your audiobook to YouTube. Now, I'm a steamy romance author, so I don't really do this one often because I have to edit out the steamy scenes in my books to be compliant with YouTube. And this is a big thing with YouTube. If you have too much sex or violence in your book, they are not going to let you upload it to their channel. So for me, that's not a huge marketing tool, but I do still think YouTube could be a valuable marketing tool. Not only can you upload your audiobooks there and monetize your channel and get paid for them, but you can also upload your shorts from TikTok or your reels or what have you and upload them as shorts to YouTube and use your YouTube platform as a marketing tactic to reach readers. So even if you're not uploading your audiobooks there, or I upload a lot of audiobook samples to my YouTube channel. So it's just another great way to get eyes and ears on your audiobooks, and it's a really good marketing tactic. Okay, marketing tip number 5 is box sets. So I love audiobook box sets. I do talk about this in my free wide audio guide, but I find audiobook box sets, usually what I'll do if it's a long series, I'll box them up into audiobook sets of 3 audiobooks. If it's a shorter series, I'll do 2 audiobook box sets. And this really helps get a lot of eyes and ears on my audiobooks. So especially with Kobo, they have their Kobo Plus program. All of my audiobooks are enrolled in Kobo Plus, and all of my box sets are enrolled in Kobo Plus. And I find that actually kind of doubles my Kobo Plus listening that I get every month because I'm having people listen to the individual books and I'm having people listen to the same audiobooks in a box set. So I'm kind of getting paid double on the same audiobook, which is really awesome. So I highly recommend that you upload box sets to Kobo. Chirp also really loves box sets. So you can do these 3 audiobook box sets and upload them to Chirp, and you apply for a featured deal. I have a much higher acceptance rate on my box sets for featured deals with Chirp than I do with individual audiobooks. So audiobook box sets are really just a great way to take a product that you've already created in your catalog and make an additional product out of that same audiobook in your catalog and really get more eyes on it and find another revenue stream. And we all need more revenue streams as authors. So that's why I'm such a big fan of box sets. Lastly, marketing tip number 6 is I create bundles on my direct store, and those do really well when I run Facebook ads to them. And so basically, I'll offer a bundle of, let's say, 9 audiobooks, or sometimes 10 or 12, depending upon. I do have a lot of audiobook novellas, so I can create some bundles where I have maybe like 6 novellas and then 6 full-length books, but it's a 12 audiobook box set, right? So there are a lot of ways you can play around with the box sets on your direct store. But when I do run these Facebook ads to my audiobook box sets, I do find that they sell really well. And it's a great way to get a high ROI because I price my box sets anywhere between $49.99 to $69.99 usually, depending upon how many audiobooks are in the box set and whether they're solo or duet narrated or what have you. So it really is a great way to get some traffic to your store, to get some high value sales, where instead of trying to sell one audiobook for $15, you're now selling audiobook bundles for $50 a pop. So I find that to be a much better way to maximize my bundles on my store. Okay, so those are the 3 steps of getting your audiobooks out there wide and direct. You've got production, you've got distribution, and you've got marketing. Now, there are also other marketing things that I didn't go over at the end there. Again, I list them in my wide audiobook guide, so feel free to download that. And I'm happy to talk to anyone about audiobooks. I love them. I love helping authors find success with them. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you'll give some of the tips and tricks that we talked about a try. And feel free to comment below and let me know how they worked, and reach out to me anytime. I'm on all the social media channels. You can find me everywhere. Feel free to shoot me a DM. And thanks so much for tuning in, and wishing you the best of luck on your wide audiobook journey.
Wow, that was a lot of great information in a short amount of time. Thank you, Rebecca. Folks, if you learned as much as I did from Rebecca's talk, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps more writers find us. This is a brand new channel, and we'll be releasing a video every week about the craft and business of writing professionally. Meanwhile, if you'd like to know more about Novelists, Inc. or Rebecca Hefner, we'll put some links in the description box below. Thanks for watching.